All right, guys. Welcome to the second episode of the Parade Planners podcast. The Leafs have already played 4 games. They played against Montreal. They played Ottawa twice. They played Winnipeg. What are you guys' thoughts so far on the first 4 games of the season?
Well, I thought that they played fairly well against Montreal. Just a couple of lapses in judgment based on the defense. Just trying to get used to everything. And then the second game was poorly
Let's talk
played.
about the Montreal game
The
though, like to start with.
the Montreal game, okay. The
Yeah.
Montreal game, I thought they played really well. The comeback was good, but they're slopping, way too sloppy in the first half. Like they're trying to get the chemistry together. The Thornton, Matthews, Martin line, they struggled a bit. VC was a surprise in the second line. When I thought that when I thought that they were good for VC in the second, I was like, what are they doing? He didn't do much, but Keith specified his role as being a Hyman type of guy, getting the puck for and opening up space for Nylander and Tavares. And I thought he did really well that game, and we'll have to see what he does throughout the season in order to be judged on what they were doing. Brody, I think he played well that game. For me, with defensemen, is that they need to be quiet. They can't be loud type of defensemen. If they're loud, then it's bad. It's just like if they're like loud. Like I mean, like if they're noticeable defensively, then it's just bad. But like if it's noticeable offensively, then it's fine. But like Brody's the type of defenseman that needs to be no unnoticeable on defensive end because Riley's just gonna carry the play on the offensive end. Also, Bogosian was alright that game. Even though he took 2 penalties. He was fine, but the third line, McKayev and Kerfoot, sorry, they played really well that game. That's my thoughts on the game one of the season.
I feel like it really felt sloppy to watch. It kind of felt like a preseason game. I don't know,
Yeah, it
from
had a preseason feel to it for sure.
from both sides too, not even just the Leafs, even like Montreal, you could tell they were just trying to get their feet wet, just figure out what's going
Yeah,
on.
I mean both teams let in like what 5 goals, so I mean you could tell that they weren't really like in mid-season form or anything.
It was fun to watch though. As much as it was
Yeah,
sloppy,
it was
I
fun.
had a
Like it
great
was
time watching the game.
entertaining, right? It was like a perfect first game of the season after not watching hockey for so long.
Yeah. To be honest, I feel like that game really set the tone. Like not in terms of the play, but in terms of like the aggression, like the rivalry. It kind of set the tone for the whole season. Like you could tell as the game went on, the teams were getting chippier and chippier towards each other.
Yeah, definitely. I mean we're gonna get to Winnipeg, but we saw that last night as well. It's gonna be crazy when you're like 6, 7, 8 games into the season series and you're playing them and it's getting closer to playoffs too, so the points matter and like maybe you're playing this team and the winner gets into the playoffs, the loser doesn't. Like those are gonna be intense games down the stretch.
I also like the fact that Matthews actually stick that game he was sticking up for himself. Like when Sherrod came at him, he just cross checked him. Like he cross checked and broke his stick. Last year he wasn't doing that because he had no protection. Now he has Simmons, Thornton, and Bogosian. Brody doesn't fight that much, but Bogosian does. And when he cross checked him, I'm like, yes, that's what we need from him, cause there's no way he gonna take that kind of shit anymore. Sorry for the language, but
Yeah.
that's he's not gonna take shit from anyone anymore, which I like, cause McDavid doesn't, McKinnon doesn't. That's that's what the superstars need to do in this league in order to grow the game more as well.
Yeah,
I
that's a
feel like
good
it's
point.
also
Like
them getting
you can
older.
see it. Yeah, that too, but like you can also see it, like you see a little bit more fire in them. You see them like chirping the other team back or shoving them back or not just like skating away when a scrum starts to happen. Like they're getting into it more. They're like being a little bit more aggressive and standing up for themselves more. It's good to see.
Like that's why it's so important that guys like Bogosian and Thornton are on the team now, because like they're probably telling Matthews and Marner like stick up for yourself and like we got your back, right?
They've been around for like Thornton's been around for like 20 years, right? So he knows what it's like to play in this league. He knows what it's like to play against these guys who just want to pick on you. So having him there and having him talk to these kids and tell them like, yo, like you can stick up for yourself. Like nothing's gonna happen.
And like Thornton's massive, right? Like just like Matthews is massive. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Thornton's probably telling him like, you don't have to be a gentle giant in this league, you know?
I hope they're giving that kind of mentorship and stuff. Like that's half the reason that they're here. So
But like, okay, I know we're gonna talk about the other games later, but Thornton has started to grow on me with each game. I felt like every single game, I
yeah,
feel
he
like he's
is.
getting more
I think
comfortable
I
and like
think
he's not providing what we thought he would in the sense that oh, Joe Thornton's gonna come here, he's gonna be like dishing out crazy assists, getting up crazy points. But the things he does so well is in the offensive zone, he one retrieves the puck in a good way, like down low, and two he gives Marner and Matthews an outlet pass. Like they can give the puck to him, and they know they will get it right back. Like when they want to pass the puck to him and move to a different position, and it works so much. You can just see like Matthews will just pass it to Thornton. He'll skate to the other side of the ice and he'll get the puck back, which is not something you saw before in any other season.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like
for
he's
me,
obviously not a Hyman type of player, but it is interesting to see the new way that they're playing with another really good passer on the line. I feel like it opens up more possibilities and stuff for them.
I think it was about developing chemistry at first because they never played together in a real game before. So I think like Thornton with Matthews and Martin are trying to grow on us because they're trying to like I think they're trying to grow the chemistry as well. For me, I think it's more of a placeholder type of guy for the first part of the season. What I think they're trying to do is save cap space for what season ahead or to try to get around toward the deadline. That's what I think, but we'll see. We'll see how the season goes from here on out.
Yeah, I do think there's probably going to be like some kind of load management um, for the older guys, like as we get down the stretch, when we get closer to playoffs, like if the Leafs are in a position where they're going to be playing in the playoffs, then they're probably going to want to start like taking a little bit of load off of guys like Spezza and Thornton and bringing in more guys from the taxi squad just to ease up so that they're fresh for playoffs still.
Yeah, I feel like they should bring up maybe Robertson when he comes back from an injury, or Barabanov on that line. I'd like to see more, a person who can like someone that we haven't really seen like play, like a lot of games yet, like on that line, on that top line. As we've seen Thornton now playing those minutes and setting up Matthews and Marner. So I would like to see like the new faces, Barabanov and Robertson get in that line. Otherwise, Thornton has been really good. Yeah, like you said, he's been. I didn't really like the line at first in the start, but then now it grew on me. So let's see how it goes in a couple games down the road now.
Man, another thing from that Montreal game is like I remember we talked about this before, like in our group chat, in our fantasy group chat, but I already hate guys on that team. Like I already hate Ben Sherratt with a passion. Like it's been one game, and I already know the next Leafs game that comes up, Ben Sherratt's gonna have a target on his back for sure. Like you already had Wayne Simmons beat him up. You already had Matthews. Like he already hit Matthews, and Matthews pushed back. Like that's just the start. So, anyways, let's talk about the next game, or we can talk about the next two games. We can just talk about both the Ottawa games together. So, what do you guys
Yeah,
think
let's talk
about
about the
the
Ottawa games
back-to-back
together.
series? Yeah, it might
Yeah,
as well. I really
that
don't
was
want
a
to
roller
talk about just
coaster.
the Friday game. So,
Yeah,
what do
yeah,
you
we
guys think about
definitely
that
don't want to do
back-to-back?
that. Yeah, I mean the first game was just like really disappointing. Like it was kind of an embarrassment to like have the lead and then lose it like that to a team like Ottawa. Obviously, they're definitely better this year than they were last year, but they're still certainly like the worst team in the division. So, I mean, a game like that, you, ex- you I feel like we're gonna need those points down the stretch. Like those points are gonna matter, which is why it kind of sucks. But I mean, it's also the Leafs, and that's kind of what they do when the games are like quote unquote easy.
So with that second game, I didn't really catch the third game. What's the highlights? But the second game was that the third line. It was really productive. The Hyman, Kerf, and McCabe line. I think that's gonna be a big line for the Leafs this year. Cause they're gonna match up against the second line, while the Tavares, Nida, and Nervisi go up against the third line, the other team's third line. So I think that could be an advantage because they can go up with their speed. They forecheck well. They get back on defense well. So I really think because all three of them kill penalties as well. So I really think that line can be really productive for the Leafs, and also yeah, but defensively they're really sound as well.
Yeah, it's like what we said about that Montreal game, right? Like even these two games, maybe towards like the middle, towards the end of the third game, they didn't feel like this, but definitely the second game and the beginning of the third game still felt like an exhibition preseason game to me. Like it was pretty sloppy. Like the players still seem like they're trying to get their like grasp of the season, their grasp of hockey. Like they haven't played since what, like July, August, right? I don't even remember when the play in was. I don't want to remember. But yeah, like the first game sucked, but the second game, like they played really good. Like I don't know,
Was
it's just
that Ottawa's first game of the season?
it was that's the thing. Like Ottawa's first
So
game of the
I
season,
mean,
they
like
kicked
those
our
guys
ass.
hadn't played in basically a year, you know? So
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like we can't really use that excuse if we're talking about like why it was sloppy, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm happy that they bounced back the second night and they got those 2 points. That was definitely like a much better performance. I feel like we should still be beating Ottawa a little bit more handily than that because that game still kind of got a little close towards the end of it. But I mean, it was nice to see them rebound.
yeah. Like I'm looking forward to seeing like the Leafs play Ottawa again next time and see how much different it is. Because like we probably shouldn't take too much out of it. Like yeah, you said they haven't played in a while, but I honestly like
Yeah,
Ottawa's
it's
lineup.
still
Like
early in the season for sure. I mean, you can only really take so much out of the first few games. I think we gotta wait until we have it like at least like 6 or 8 games, which in a normal season is still too little, but is probably I would say a good sample size for like this season because it would be about 10% of the season or so.
all right, come on, Nadim. You know we're Leafs fans. We have to overreact.
Yeah,
We we
we
we're
have
all
to for
demanding
sure. I
Anderson to be
mean,
traded after game two.
oh yeah,
Oh,
I think I, w- I was on that train too. I'm like, Anderson's just terrible. He couldn't make a save for the life of him in the game too, because he was fighting the puck, like he was all over the place, and then I guess the pressure behind is Campbell instead of Hutchinson or like what McElhaney or Spark if you were those three were alright backups. McElhaney was because of Babcock only doing back on the second game of back to back. Spark was awful, and then there was I think it was I forgot the goal. Enroth, remember Enroth? He was on the Leafs too at one point. He was one of the
oh yeah, that was a
backups.
fun little stretch.
Yeah, and then Sparks. Well, the Sparks was awful, and he was I think it was AHL goalie of the year before, but that was awful experiment. Dakar Hutchinson, he was alright, and then when he had to come in, he was awful. And then now Campbell's coming. Hopefully, he can push Freddie a bit. He seems like a great teammate. Everyone loves him, which is really good.
Yeah, I always see him
And
commenting on like all the
yeah,
Leafs posts. He's always his comments on like
yeah,
Marner's post, Hyman's post, whoever's post is always so funny, so like wholesome.
yeah. He's a whole. He seems like such a nice guy in the locker room, and I think that's really great to have. But with the veteran presence that they brought in, I think that's really good as well.
But yeah, I was saying like I'm impressed by Ottawa's lineup. Like they have some really good players there. Like Thomas Chabot, he's a horse, man. I feel like he was on the ice that whole back to back. Like I feel like it was either him or someone else, but he was like double shifting at some point. And then they got like Stutzel, uh they got Kachuk, they got a bunch of other young guys too. Like I think Ottawa's gonna be a scary team in like the next 3 to 4 years. Which to be honest, I love. Like if we can get that Battle of Ontario back, it would be amazing.
so you're saying at least
I'm
have 3 years to win the cup, or
I'm
what?
surprised.
Yeah, their window's closing.
Yeah, right.
It's
But I
not
think
like
for on.
Matthews and Marner are only 23 or something, you know?
Just
Like
like just like Nina is gonna be traded as well for a bag of pucks. Also, Colin White, he was scratched, but it's really surprised because I think they just signed him to an extension. I was like, What? Why did he sign to extension and scratch in the first game of the season? I think he got according to like DJ Smith, who was the coach, he got scratched because he got outplayed in camp. So, like, you can't give him a chance. You signed to a contract extension. Also,
Yeah,
another surprising note. I know we're not talking about the Sens, but Josh Norris, he was acquired from the Sharks in the Eric Carlson trade. So that trade keeps on giving for the Sens somehow, some way. Uh, Carlson's been struggling ever since he got to the Sharks. But what Josh Norris and Tim Stutzla they got from the Sharks trade, which is pretty good if you ask me.
Yeah, for the first game when they versus Ottawa, like their first game against Ottawa, sorry. Um, yeah, I felt like it wasn't that great a game for Freddie in particular because he wasn't like in his form. So I believe like he has time to get better now, and as you can see, like the Winnipeg game, I didn't really watch too much of it, but like I heard he played good. Um, and otherwise, Tavares has really been killing it these past games. He's been racking up the points. I like his playmaking skills as well. He's really yeah, it was really fun to watch. And also, I think Matthew struggled a bit in the first two games because usually he had the streak going where he'd score like in every game opener, but like he didn't really score, and then he felt like really frustrated. So like that was I think that was a factor as well, and yeah, I was really that game, and then they bounced back in the second game against Ottawa. So I feel like Leafs have a lot to prove when it comes to the Battle of Ontario, and I feel like that rivalry is still young, and it's only gonna get better from there on.
There was a
Yeah, it
joke
was.
going around on Twitter. It's called February instead of Fredtober because he struggles in the beginning of the season. So instead of Fredtober, it's October, and then February. It's a lame joke. It's a fun, but I thought it was pretty funny.
bro, Twitter has no chill, man. Like after that Friday game, like they were just going off on Anderson.
That's Leafs Twitter for you,
The,
man.
yeah, the only thing I wish that doesn't happen is the Leafs media running Brody out of town. I remember the Friday game he struggled, and everyone, Craig Button, Ray Ferraro, the commentators, Gordon Miller, they were all on him like no tomorrow. So I wish nothing happened. Like he's been he's been doing decent. I gotta admit the second game was horrible for him, but you can't just wail on a guy for a second game getting used to the defense partner. Like I can't like I don't want them to run him out of town just like Jake Gardner, Larry Murphy, and all those guys that they ran out of town.
I wasn't surprised if trade trade Freddie was gonna be like trending or something. I don't think it was, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
Man, if Leafs Twitter is not overreacting, it's not Leafs Twitter. Like that's how you know the season's back on when you're hearing all these overreactions to any little thing.
At least for always one of the best overreactors there, cause that's what why I think carries hockey Twitter is the Leafs Twitter, cause they get all the best reactions from them, cause the team's been on and off these last couple of years trying to get into the second round of the playoffs. While other teams and the center of the universe have the most fans in the world, so like it's a judgmental overreaction as well.
Yeah, hockey mecca of the world. It's always fun to. I always hop on Leafs Twitter like during the intermission just to see people overreacting. It's just funny. But yeah, so you guys want to talk about the Winnipeg game now? That was by far probably the best game of the season. Really good. So what do you guys think about it?
Bro, that game was amazing, man. Like literally every line, every deep pairing, Anderson, like everyone was like top notch, right? I think that was the first game since like what? I don't even remember the last game the Leafs played this good.
The last game I remember they playing this good was against St. Louis last year. I think even when Babcock got fired, they pointed that out when they were doing the introduction to Keith. They're like that St. Louis game. That's how we want to play, and that was I think in October of last year, which was I mean last to last year, 2019. There's a whole
Their
pandemic.
very last game in March last year was pretty good against Tampa, I think, like right before the NHL stopped.
Yeah,
That was a really good game.
that was really good too. But I remember
Yeah,
that St. Louis game where I think it was CC to Nylander when CC carried up past the Nylander, that tic-tac-toe goal. I still remember that. I don't know how, but I still remember that. That was the game they lost 3-2, I think, in regulation. But seeing the way that they played that game was amazing. But yet they still lost. I think that was a turning point of where they were they were gonna play good, but then they got frustrated under Babcock, and I guess the season went downhill from there.
Yeah, so like back to the Winnipeg game though, like man, like watching that game, like one of my most reoccurring thoughts during that game is like, this is the system of hockey Sheldon Keefe wants the Leafs to play. You know what I mean? Like the way they played last night is everything Keefe and Dubas have been preaching since they've been here. Like yesterday's game is the complete opposite of a Babcock game, if you know what I mean. Like it was such heavy possessions, so much like the play in the ozone is what like blew my mind. Like in the second period, the way that they were passing and rotating around, like getting around players, confusing the defense, tiring them out. Like I've never seen that before from these guys. Like even like everything looked good. Like the power play looked good. Like 5-on-5 looked good. Like the play in front of the net, especially, like it seemed like they were really like I even saw like Marner attacking the net. That's how he got that goal off of the I think it was the Justin Hall shot where he just slipped through his leg and he tipped it in. Like Marner's sitting in front of the net. Like people can't say these guys don't go to the net anymore because it seems like for Sheldon Keefe they'll do whatever he wants them to do. They care about this coach.
Yeah, so like I pulled up the stat sheet on naturalstattrick.com for the Winnipeg game, and they only had
Shout out to
three
that
high.
website. We don't have a sponsorship though, but shout
Yeah,
out
I
to the
know.
website.
Soon, soon. But they only had three high danger shots against, compared to like the first three games where each game they allowed nine high danger shots against. And like I pulled up last year's season as well, and they only had one game last season with three high danger shots against. So like they're already meeting, their best game last year.
Dude, that's crazy. Like to be honest, like this that looked like one of the best games I've ever seen like the Leafs play. Like not even just like this current core of the Leafs, even like past Leafs. Like it was so dominant. Like I was just shocked.
Yeah, I feel like offensively, like we've done this before, had those amazing offensive games, but we never put it together, right? Like defensively, oh my god, the shutdown hockey in the third period, that was amazing.
Dude, like cause like I'm so used to them. Like even if they have like a crazy first or second period, they just take their foot off the gas, put it on cruise, and just chill in the third period and blow the lead. But like even though I want to say Winnipeg had more shots than Toronto at some point in the second. I don't know if they had it for the whole third or some point, but even though Winnipeg had more shots than Toronto at one point in the third period, Toronto was still shutting them down. They were still keeping them to the outside. Like they played amazing defense at the same time, which is like I'm like, yo, who is this team? Like, what is Sheldon Keefe putting in their water?
But do you think that changes when Line comes back?
Yeah, I was.
I don't know, cause like the thing for me is like Line is the type of guy where like he thrives on the power play. He thrives on them having possession in the offensive zone, and he can play within the offensive zone, right? Like I'm not sure about the advanced analytics, but from what I know is like he's someone who thrives sitting in the offensive zone, right? Like he's not the type to carry it out of their defensive zone and set the play up in the offensive zone. So like to me, watching that game, it's like Winnipeg didn't even have a chance to make plays. They had no like they weren't in the Leaf zone passing it around trying to find open shots. They weren't at all. So like I don't know if Laine would even make a difference. Maybe on the power play, but I don't know.
I think the Jets were missing Larned on that power play, because Shifley is more, I think, in the bumper spot, and Wheeler's on the, I think, the right half board. Landed on left half board with the right-handed one-timer, so I think they were missing him on that side, on that one-timer side, because Shifley not a big one-timer guy as well.
I didn't watch too much of the game because I missed the whole game, but I watched like the highlights after, and yeah, they had a really good game, and I feel like if they keep this up, they can keep it going. Cause like yeah, we're used to see them just like chilling the third period, not really trying to play that much defense, and I feel like they need to put more pressure on teams during the third period, because I feel like that's what they're lacking, and I feel like they just lose all their aggressiveness in the third period. I feel like once they have the lead, they don't really care to secure it. They just like kind of like chill, like lay back. But I feel like they should like implement that system more, where they're being more aggressive, being more aggressive, like in the third period. And I feel like that's where they need to improve. And like if they can keep that going, they can win more games and be close to perfect, as we can say.
I felt that when I think when they got the second goal, I was like, yes, let's go. They're actually playing good. But then when Marlon turned the puck over in the neutral in the defensive zone, I think it was like a minute left, and then Connor scored. I'm like, oh my god, here we go again. It's the same leaf, same thing. Cause I remember, I think last season, like years prior, they would dominate, and then they would allow like a crappy goal, like a turnover, and then they would crumble in the third period after dominating one period. But that Malden, like, come on, not again. Just based on like other reactions and stuff. Other years prior. But I guess I think the veteran presence helped with Thornton and Simmons. Maybe stood up in the locker room saying, "We got this, boys. We've been dominating the whole game. Let's just stick to our system, and I think we can get this win."
Can we talk about Mitch Marner in that game for a sec? Like, it seemed like he was on fire the whole game. Like, he was so noticeable, making plays like left, right, and center.
I thought Mitch played really well that game. The thing I liked was at the end when Pyong tried neoning him, talking shit at the end was the best part. He would never done that years prior. He would just get away, but man, Pyong just came just bowling right at him, like full speed ahead, trying to injure him, or even had shot. I don't know, was knee on knee or anything, but talking shit was just the best at the end. Without, but otherwise, he was really noticeable with the puck skating around and stuff like that. That was the best part. That's Mitch's game, just trying to get in lanes. Like he's good defensively too with the stick.
Yeah, I feel like you guys talked about earlier about the veteran presence and stuff, and like standing up for yourself. So I feel like as the games go on, um, like I hope to see more of this, of like the Leafs standing up for themselves, because like you don't really see that in the prior years when they played, because like they'd always used to get like pushed around and bullied. But like I think now like they're actually like fighting back, and I really like that new side of the Leafs that we didn't really see before, and now we're seeing that. I don't know if that's keep like telling the Leafs that, or that like the just like the veteran presence that's mentoring the Leafs, saying that stand up for yourself, and don't be afraid to like talk back, and yeah.
Bro, Neil Pionk though, oh my god, that was such a dirty play. Like, it was so unnecessary of him to do that, stick his knee out. Like,
Bro, that guy's an
Marner had the
idiot,
open
man.
shot. Bro, I couldn't believe it. Like, what is he doing?
And then Shifley comes along and like, what's he even saying? Like,
Bro, what can he say? Like Pionk tried to put a dirty hit on Marner. How is it Marner's fault there?
bro, I can't wait until next game because like for sure someone's going after that guy.
Isn't Shifley supposed to be like a super like hockey nerd as well? So like he's for sure gonna go back, watch this game, and realize he was in the wrong. And I loved how when Shifley came up to Marner's face, Tavares pushed him back too, which like Tavares has had that reputation of being like a very like nerdy, quiet, soft kind of player apparently around the league. So like to see Marner and Tavares both get chippy there at the end, I love to see it.
The one thing I noticed was that Pyong was nowhere to be found after. That's the most funniest part. He just did it and then ran away after. And then Shifley, I think it was Lowry and Wheeler came in, or it's Connor. Yes, Connor, Shifley, and Lowry came in, and Pyong just went behind and then just skated over to his bench like nothing happened. Like I don't know what Pyong was thinking there.
So much for Mitch Marner being softed. He literally bodied Pionk after he came after him, and Marner's supposed to be such a small kid.
He's not really small. He's like 6 feet. I mean, I think he's 100 because his weight is just like his weight is not high enough. Like the way like he's big. He's like tall, but he's not big. Like he's not like Adam Laurie big or like Zach Hyman big. Zach Hyman, I think he's the same size as Mitch Marner, but or an inch shorter. But Hyman just played that gritty game while Martin played that that finesse game. That's why I think they call him like a coward or like a weak kind of person, because he's more of a guy that finesses his way through all guys like Hyman who are bigger and stronger. I'm not saying Martin's not strong, but the way they play both like opposite kind of games, it's the weight difference. I think that's what that matters most.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll just say one last thing before we'll wrap up like the pretty much Leafs impressions and stuff. I really liked I think Bogosian and both Lettinen actually looked really good last game. Like it seemed like Lettinen made Bogosian look better too. I noticed like Lettinen, although like he did seem uncomfortable with the smaller ice, he didn't seem that crazy. I noticed that his positioning and stuff was really good. Like I noticed when the puck would move, he'd be the first one to start drifting back, or he'd make a smart play. He looked confident still at the same time. So I think like once Lettinen can kind of get his own, kind of figure out the shorter ice, we're gonna have like 7 or 8 solid defenders, which is something like I can't believe I'm hearing about the Leafs. Like 7 or 8 competent defenders is like something brand new to me. Also, yo, what do you guys think about like the 11 forwards and 7 defensemen from yesterday?
I really liked it, to be honest, because it's different. Like trying different things out, it's different because the original 12 to 6 is it's working well for other teams, but with the defensive depth the Leafs got, it's gonna work out for them because they can play Spencer Simmons and like a superstar on their wing and be able to crash those fourth line. Like with who's the fourth line? Jansen Harkin and Mason Appleton. If that's their fourth line, like I don't know who. Like I know who the guys are because I'm a hardcore hockey fan. But if you play Nylander, Marner, Matthews with those fourth line guys, they can absolutely take advantage of them. So that's why I think you can play superstars along those fourth line players, or even play like McCabe, Hyman, or Kerfoot along those guys, and they can do damage on the fourth line as well.
Yeah, I also like it because it gives you the chance to use the defensemen in like the ways that best suit their game as well. So like you can shelter some of them and start like letting it in the O zone and then Bogosian in the D zone or something like that, whatever you want to do, to kind of like shelter them a little bit more, or like limit their minutes. And like you said, you get extra shifts for like Matthews or Tavares or whoever, and that's never a bad thing either.
Yeah, I'm amped to see the next matchup. McDavid versus Matthews. That's gonna be a real exciting one. I can't wait to watch the game.
Yeah, let's hope Riley doesn't have some PTSD from last year, that move that McDavid made on him.
Who deked him? Someone deked him really bad in one of the first 4 games.
It's Suzuki who dangled him, and then they
Oh
scored
man,
again. But Anderson
Riley got
saved
turned
it.
inside out, man.
I feel like Riley is more competent defensively than we think he is. He just gets dangled a lot for some reason. That's just weird. Even though he's a good skating defenseman.
Yeah, I'm hyped to see McDavid though like 9 times this year. Like we only get to see him what like usually like 2 times in a year or something like that. It's gonna be fun to see McDavid play more often. Like man,
Yeah, it is
that
for
one
sure
goal,
gonna
what
be
was it? Where he
fun.
went like end to end one of the first games he played this year. Crazy.
That man's speed is like his speed is like off the charts, man. Like when you watch the highlight reel, it legit looks like everyone else is moving in slow motion while this guy's like at top speed. Like,
Yeah, the way he picks up speed is really good. Is really cool to watch.
Looks like he's playing NHL 21 on rookie mode or something.
Yeah.
A future Team Canada captain. Am I
Gu-
right?
Oh,
guy,
100%.
yeah, but guys have those speed, but they don't have the hands to match with like McDavid does. That's why McDavid is so effective.
All right, so before we move on to some other NHL news, let's just quickly, I want to hear, we'll try to do this segment every time we do the podcast. So, for the last 4 games, who was your one standout player from the Leafs? Just try to keep it quick. We'll go one by one. So, Harmon, you want to go first?
Um, the last 4 games, I feel like Tavares has been a big factor. Um, Not only like his shooting capability, but like also like his playmaking. And I feel like his net presence is a really big thing as well when he gets in front of the goalie, and he gets like the garbage goals and like the rebound goals. Those have been really good to see, and I feel like he's been the top player, as I think he has the most points on the team, if I'm not too sure. Yeah,
I
I
think
feel
it's most
like
points in the league.
oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I feel like yeah, he's been the top player of the Leafs so far.
All right, then Egan, who impressed you the most the last 4 games?
I gotta go with William Nylander. That guy is super underrated. Like, even with his 30 goal season last year, people are still picking on him, especially last game, where I forgot which TV analyst spoke shit about him, but basically said that Nylander has to improve his game or something. Nylander already has 5 points in 4 games this season, 2 goals, 3 assists. So, and like, whenever you watch, when I watched Nylander the first 4 games, um, whenever he was in the corners, like, he was always like strong on the puck. Like, no one could knock him off the puck. Like, everyone calls him weak or soft, but like, he has like Hyman like strength when he's protecting the puck.
Yeah, man, he played amazing. He's probably part of the reason we won that first game. All right, Nadim, what do you think?
Yeah, I gotta go with Tavares as well. You could see last year, like with the injury and everything that happened to him early in the season, he definitely had like a little bit of a down year, but he's come back like guns blazing this year. He looks great. He's playing really well defensively as well, and he's got a little fire in him that I like. But I also want to give like a little honorable mention to Kerfoot. I feel like he's been a lot better than he was last season. He looks like a little bit more comfortable, like he has kind of like found his role and he's stepping into it a little bit more. So I'm excited to see him keep getting better this year.
Yeah, man, I'm loving that checking line with Kerfoot centering it. So,
Yeah,
Jaskaran, what do you
yeah, it
think?
looks good.
I was gonna say Kerfoot, just cause what I remember in the preseason or like not the preseason before training camp started, people had him on the third line left wing. I think along with Thornton, but I think he's really fitting into a third line center role with McCabe and Hyman, cause all three, them three are like the type of players that you need on the third line checking, which I think an honorable mention goes to Mitch Marner, just because he played fantastic last 2 games, even though the first 2 games he was unnoticeable.
Okay, yeah. So for my impressions, I gotta give it to Mitch Marner, just like what Jaskaran said. Like last year, he had his whole contract like fatigue. He wasn't playing the way Mitch Marner does. He was forcing a lot of plays, but he just looked electric. Like Saturday night and tonight, he looked like he had a fire under his ass. Like I think it's gonna be a major season for Mitch Marner. I think he's been he's had the most time on ice for all the forwards. I think he played what, like either 22 or 24 minutes, which is like insane for a forward. He plays the power play, he plays the penalty kill. He's out there at the last second when they have a 6-on-5 with the goalie pulled. He's starting to get chippy. I think this is going to be a career year for Mitch Marner, which is crazy considering he's put up 90 plus points before. But I also want to give a shout out to Zach Hyman. I don't know what it is, but Zach Hyman's on a mission this year. Like he's dangling in the offensive zone. He's shooting. He looks like he's driving the third line's offense single handedly, which is crazy because I remember like back in like what 2016 when Babcock would put Hyman on the line with Matthews and Marner, and like all of us included, I remember that hockey fantasy group chat. We were all shitting on Hyman, saying, "Why is Babcock putting Hyman there? Hyman's ruining the line, this and that." But Hyman has become a amazing player and a key part of this team.
They call it dash strength. I think he just
Yeah,
became a dad. I think it's dash
yeah,
strength. And
he just had a
also,
kid,
I
right?
think I read, yeah, he had a kid with dash strength. um, I think it's a real thing because as soon as someone has a kid, they perform really well on the ice for some reason. Even other sports like pitchers throw like one hitters, football players get touchdowns. I think it is. I think it is. They want. They want like it's a dash strength. That's what it is. I don't know what it is for some reason in the sport.
I remember when the Raptors won, Freddie Van Vliet, I think he had a kid when the Raptors won in the playoffs too. And I remember after he had that kid, for some reason he just exploded in the playoffs and took over. So I guess it is, but dad strength.
It's a real thing. Also, I also read that Mitch Marner is averaging 24 minutes a night. He's averaging that much, which is insane for a forward.
It's crazy. Keith trusts him, which to be honest, he's shown every reason to be trusted. And the more minutes we pay him, the more that $11 million contract looks worth it. All right, so let's take a break from the Leafs for now. We'll talk about some other stuff from around the league. So, do you guys have any thoughts on like the standings, how the teams around the leagues and stuff have been playing other than the Leafs?
I think the Bruins have been a really struggling team. I think they only have. I don't think they have any 5-on-5 goals. Cause I read a tweet that them and the Stars have been only teams that haven't got a 5-on-5 goal, and that's saying something. Cause the Stars haven't even played a game yet. So that's really, I think that's really frustrating Bruins fans because they don't have. I think Greg McKay last time I checked is on their third line. I think they have no depth goal scoring as of now. I think Stadniko's on their second line as well.
Man, Montreal's been killing it. Like the way they're playing right now, I can see them being second in the North Division.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm still not convinced. They have been playing really well so far, but I want to see it for like a longer period of time. I think Pittsburgh is also a pretty good big surprise. Like in the East Division, they're dead last. They have like a -5 goal differential. They won their first game against Washington, but they got like dummied in the first two against Philadelphia. So that's not a great start for them either.
Man, I saw St. Louis that game where they got slapped like what 8-0 against Colorado. St. Louis has come
Yeah.
fallen a lot. I thought they would be a lot better to be honest this year.
I mean, they're still 2-1. So it was just that one game that didn't go their way, but yeah, I mean, that was surprising for sure.
Maybe that's just Colorado being Colorado.
Uh, I I think it's more of a transition year for the Blues is because I think Bennington's a free agent at the end of this year. Also, they got Jordan Carew in the second, and I think it's his first full year. Robert Thomas, I think it's his second full year. I think so. I think it's more transition year for St. Louis. If I but that's what I think.
Yeah, like the
And
standings and stuff are weird right now, but they'll settle down like once we get like a couple games into the season. We'll kind of figure out who's the good teams, who's not.
they still don't have Tarasenko, St. Louis.
Is he supposed to come back this year?
I think so. I think he's supposed to come back like halfway through the season or something.
Man, I
I'm
don't
not.
even remember the
I'm not
last
sure.
time when he played. Like it's been so long.
Yeah, but speaking about injuries, Tampa Bay, like they still look amazing without Kucherov.
Man, I don't know what it is with that team. Well, they pretty much kept everyone this off season too, which like amazed me because I thought they were gonna lose
Yeah, I
somebody
remember us
important.
like we were shit talking
Yeah,
them. We're
that
like,
team is ridiculous.
I have no idea how they kept everyone. Like
You know what it is? It's the tax breaks. They can
exactly,
get paid
just
$7 million
It's a
somewhere else,
tactic.
and they get the same money getting paid $5 million in Tampa, and it's bullshit. But everyone has to shit on the Leafs
Yeah,
for the smallest advantages we have. But Tampa can still get these tax breaks. It's bullshit.
I was saying Vancouver is not playing that well because they're like 1-3.
Man, hopefully they're still cold by the time we play them.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, is like Pedersen not performing well, or like any of the young stars, or like Brock Besser, Quinn Hughes? I'm not too sure, but like haven't been really keeping track, except for like only been keeping track of the Leafs. But like I think Vancouver, like I'm surprised to see them right at the end of at the division, because like usually I think I projected them to be the number two spot in the North Division, so I'm kind of surprised to see them at the bottom.
They lost some key guys though, right? Like losing Markstrom is a big loss to them. Markstrom is an amazing goalie, and like I don't know who's been starting for them. Has Holtby been playing? Like, is it Holtby or Demko starting?
I think it's
I
been
think it's Demko and Hoppy.
Hopi.
Demko and Hoppy playing games. I think Demko played last night. Hoppy played the home opener, and then they had a back to back in Edmonton. Demko played that. I know Demko played last night for them. I think they played 3 games, so 4 games. Yeah, I think they split 2-2 for now. And also, I think their defense has been struggling a lot. That's why I've been reading up on.
Let's talk about some other teams. So, you guys see all that stuff with Dubois going on? He's like asking to get out of there. I've seen so much stuff about Dubois going to Montreal, and we know Montreal is known for these blockbuster trades, right? Like they're known to send Drouin or to get Drouin for Sergachev. They're known to send out PK for Shea Weber. Who's to say they wouldn't go out and get Pierre-Luc Dubois? And like, as much as I don't like the kid, Dubois is really talented. I think he would take Montreal to the next level.
The thing that I'm wondering about though is like if they're trying to make that trade happen, there's two things that like the first one is that he'd have to quarantine for like 14 days or whatever it is if he wanted to come here and play for the Habs. So I mean, that's in a couple of weeks where they're playing like 5 games a week or 4 games a week, that's him missing like almost a quarter of the season right there. So I feel like that instantly kind of like diminishes his trade value or like the benefit that he brings. The other thing is like if you're Columbus, if you're trading Dubois, don't you want somebody like Suzuki back? Like you don't want to get worse because Columbus, they've made the playoffs the last few years. They probably still think that they have a chance to do it again this year.
They have to ask
I
for
don't know if
Suzuki back,
Montreal
and like,
would want to do that.
yeah, that's the thing. Suzuki has been amazing. Like, even against the Leafs, he looked like a force out
Yeah, yeah, and he was great in the bubble last year too, like playing against Crosby and Malkin. Like I think he has real potential. I don't know if the Canadians would be willing to give him up, especially while he's still on such a cheap contract.
if they can give up like Kotkaniemi or like Cole Caulfield or something and some picks, that team is going to be crazy, and I'm going to hate it so much. I already hate Dubois. If Dubois goes to Montreal, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, I think like the key for Montreal is maybe making a deal with picks or prospects because they have so many of them where they can now kind of like start to maybe trade some away. Like they have way too many prospects that like not all of them are going to be able to make the team, so they might as well, start to use them to get stronger in the places that they need to.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
All
Nick
right.
Kyrgios tweeted out that Canadians were interested, but they needed to give up Suzuki, and also Alexander Romanov is untouchable. And then some guy subtweeted it saying that it's Kotkaniemi and Mete, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. I think they need to get Suzuki back in order to make that trade fair enough for them to do.
All right. So we'll just wrap up the podcast with our last topic. So as you guys know, it's been like the Diversity Week, the Willie O'Ree celebration, and Martin Luther King celebration in the NHL. I really loved it. I think it's a great idea. I think the NHL needs to be more diverse. We need some more diversity in there. We need other people of color. We need brown people, black people, Asian people, whatever it is. Having a diverse sport is really beneficial. It opens up the crowd. It opens up the fan base. What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, I thought it was great, and you saw like other teams kind of applaud that as well and like support it and stuff too. So it's good to see that around the league, and I'm hoping that this is like the first of many changes and like hockey becoming more accepting. But it's a good kind of like first step or first kind of gesture.
Yeah, because like the culture really has to trickle down from the top, right? Like if you see at the top in the NHL, it's not a very accepting culture. It's only going to trickle down. And I know, like me playing ice hockey growing up too, it was a very white culture. Even playing here in Brampton, there were other brown people and stuff, but it was still that unaccepting culture in hockey growing up. And I'm hoping that as we go forward, it's going to get easier and easier. So, anyways, Leafs are going to be playing Edmonton back to back, and then it looks like they're playing Calgary back to back. I think they're going back to Edmonton, but hopefully we'll probably have another episode either after the Edmonton back to back or in between, somewhere around there in the next week or so. So hopefully, I think Calgary's looking pretty good. Those are gonna be some tough games. Those are gonna be some proving games for the Leafs to see how they can play against a really good team. Edmonton, I'm not too worried about. Their defense looks weak. They haven't been playing the hottest, but it's gonna be fun to watch Connor McDavid play. But we'll see you guys then. Have fun. Enjoy the next 4 days. Stay inside because of the lockdown, and go Leafs go.